Legendary footsteps, the life of Queen Elizabeth I. The year is 1588. The salty tang of the sea hangs thickly in the air, a harsh reminder of the looming battle. The distant roar of cannon fire reverberates across the waters, vibrating through the wooden deck of the English ships. Men shout orders, their voices hoarse and strained amidst the chaotic cacophony of war. As the sun rises over the horizon, its rays reflect off the choppy waves, casting a golden glow that seems almost ethereal. The air crackles with tension, a charged atmosphere, heavy with anticipation and fear. Sailors, their faces smeared with soot and sweat, grip the rigging tightly, their knuckles turning white against the ropes soaked with sea spray. The clash of metal and the shrill cries of gulls pierce the air, mingling with the low rumble of thunder in the distance. In the thick of this tumult stands Queen Elizabeth I, her auburn hair catching the light, her presence commanding despite the chaos around her. She stands on the deck of the flagship, the Ark Royal, staring defiantly at the approaching Spanish Armada. With a voice that echoes like a cannon shot, she raises her hand to signal her fleet. "My loving people, we shall stand firm against the tide of invasion." The smell of gunpowder fills her nostrils, sharp and acrid, as she steels herself for the fight ahead. She knows the stakes. Her reign, her people, and the very soul of England rest upon this moment. As the first cannonball flies, the world blurs into a feverish dance of smoke, flame, and valor. The battle begins, and history hangs in the balance. To understand the weight of this moment, we must rewind to Elizabeth's childhood, a time marked by betrayal and loss. Born on September 7, 1533, she emerged into a world rife with religious strife, her father, King Henry VIII, igniting conflicts that would shadow her reign. The very air of the Tudor court crackled with tension, a potent mix of political ambition and treachery. Her mother, Anne Boleyn, executed when Elizabeth was just 2 years old. The pungent smell of blood still stained the halls of her memories. As a child, Elizabeth learned to navigate a treacherous court where trust was a luxury few could afford. Never trust too easily, her governess warned her, a sobering reminder echoing in her mind. Each lesson was steeped in the shadows of her childhood traumas, the fear of abandonment, the bitterness of betrayal. As Elizabeth stood before her mirror in the dim light of her chamber, the chill of the room seemed to seep into her bones. She would often whisper to herself, "I will not be lost like them," the words tinged with a resolve born of deep-seated fear and a longing for stability in a world that had shown her none. However, the path to her ascension was fraught with challenges that would threaten to derail her ambitions. The early years of her reign saw her dodge multiple attempts on her life and navigate through the tumultuous waters of religious conflict. The Catholic and Protestant divide simmered just beneath the surface, each sect vying for dominance, a veritable powder keg of emotions and beliefs. In 1559, Elizabeth enacted the Act of Uniformity, aiming to unify the nation under a single religious framework. Yet the backlash was immediate and furious. In a heated council meeting, one of her advisors slammed his hand onto the table, causing the candles to flicker violently. "You risk your life and your crown with these reforms, Your Majesty," he shouted, his voice a mixture of anger and fear, the smell of wax dripping from the candles mingling with the tension in the air. Elizabeth's heart raced as she contemplated the implications of her decisions. For a moment, doubt crept in, a whispering serpent coiling around her resolve. But she took a deep breath, her chest rising and falling as she sought strength in her convictions. "If I am to lead, I must do so with courage. Fear shall not dictate my reign," she said, her voice steady, though inside, her stomach churned. The defining moment for Elizabeth came in the summer of 1588 with the looming threat of the Spanish Armada. The meticulously crafted strategy she implemented was one of extraordinary genius. She understood that brute force alone would not secure victory against a force 4 times the size of her fleet. Elizabeth called upon Sir Francis Drake, a seasoned sailor and privateer, to devise a plan. Together they orchestrated an approach that would utilize the wind to their advantage, knowing the Spanish fleet was reliant on traditional naval tactics. "We shall become the wind, my queen," Drake urged, his voice imbued with passion. "We must outmaneuver them, not meet them head-on." Their strategy revolved around smaller, more agile ships. They set fires in harbors and used the smoke to confuse and disperse the armada. Elizabeth's insistence on daring tactics transformed her fleet, turning what could have been a devastating defeat into a lesson in agility and cunning. As the sun set on the horizon, Elizabeth stood on the deck of her flagship. "Remember, my friends," she called out, "the strength of our resolve will be our greatest weapon." The crew, hearts pounding with the thrill of impending battle, cheered in response, their voices rising like a tide. The day of reckoning arrived in July. The air was thick with anticipation as the Spanish Armada approached the shores of England. The sound of waves crashing against the hulls of ships filled the air, heralding the impending clash. Elizabeth stood at the prow of the Ark Royal, the wind whipping her hair back, her heart racing with a mixture of dread and fierce determination. As the first cannon was fired, the earth seemed to tremble beneath the din. Each boom was a reminder of what was at stake: her kingdom, her life, and the very fabric of her rule. The smell of gunpowder hung heavy in the air, a pungent reminder of the violence that had begun to erupt. The waves crashed violently, creating a melody of chaos as English cannons roared and Spanish ships lumbered forward. The clash was ferocious, the deck vibrating beneath her feet as men shouted and fought, each one driven by a desire to protect their queen and their land. Elizabeth's heart swelled with pride and fear as she moved among her troops, rallying them with fiery speeches. "We fight not just for our homes, but for our future." The tension mounted with each passing moment. Men perished, and ships sank into the depths, swallowed by the very sea they fought upon. The landscape transformed into a gruesome reflection of humanity's struggle and resilience, a stark reminder of the price of freedom. However, the aftermath of such fervent success was not without its own shadows. Despite her triumph over the Armada, Elizabeth faced betrayal from within her court. One of her closest advisors, Robert Dudley, the Earl of Leicester, had harbored aspirations that extended beyond loyalty. The sweet aroma of roses in the royal gardens could no longer mask the scent of deceit. During one of the royal banquets, a drunken reveler remarked, "His heart sways toward ambition more than loyalty." The laughter that ensued felt like daggers aimed at Elizabeth's heart, the weight of betrayal pressing down as she strained to maintain her composure. "Perchance, my dear friends, you are mistaken," Elizabeth replied, her voice sharp but laced with hurt. "Loyalty and ambition often wear the same cloak, yet only one shall warm me at night." She swallowed hard, the wine in her goblet turning bitter in her mouth. Then, when the whispers grew into a tempest, Elizabeth confronted Dudley. "You have danced too close to the flames of ambition, Robert," she warned, her voice low and steady, eyes piercing. "You will find that fire burns those who play too recklessly." Each word lingered heavy in the charged air, a reminder of the weight of her crown. In the years that followed, Elizabeth I would go on to solidify her legacy as a monarch who not only stabilized religious and political factions, but also ushered in a cultural renaissance known as the Elizabethan era. The streets of London began to hum with the sounds of commerce and creativity. Theaters flourished, and a literary explosion followed, with figures like Shakespeare leaving indelible marks on the soul of England. Yet beneath the crown, Elizabeth carried the scars of betrayal and the memories of battles fought, her heart heavy with the knowledge of human frailty. In her twilight years, she often reflected upon her reign, stating, "I have the heart of a king, and it is, perhaps, the heaviest crown of all." In facing the complex nature of loyalty, ambition, and love, Elizabeth's journey reveals a fundamental truth about human nature. We are a tapestry of contradictions, driven by desires that often clash with our duty. To lead is to bear the weight of our choices, and to navigate through treachery with both courage and grace, a lesson that reverberates through the ages. As we look back on her reign, one cannot help but feel the warmth of her spirit, a beacon for those who dare to dream, to lead, and to fight for their place in history. Elizabeth I remains not just a queen, but a symbol of resilience and unyielding spirit, reminding us that every great tale carries with it the echoes of struggle, triumph,